Welcome. This is the second podcast, or I guess it would be a vlog type streaming Sunday that we're hoping to do with the site here. As you can see, based upon the title, if you haven't read already, we're doing a follow-up or kind of a lead-up to the event that's coming up this Thursday, this giant event that apparently has sold, or that has about 3 times as many people as what can accommodate for it. So I figured there's definitely a big interest to it. So I figured I'd do that for a topic today, see if we can dive into that. Hopefully encourage you guys to demonstrate some of the examples or some of the tests that you can play with. But I really wanted to touch on WebRTC in general before or leading up to the event. So for anybody who doesn't know, WebRTC stands for real-time communication. What it is it's generally paired with webcam, such as obviously this, audio devices. You're talking any type of peer-to-peer connection. That's what WebRTC is. It's not just the webcam development. It's a plethora of different things. It enables future technologies without Flash being embedded, which is one of the key features and why Flash is still around, right? It's this mentality that you need to have Flash to do some form of webcam distribution or to do recording and whatnot, which YouTube does, which there's a lot of video chat software or conference calls. Hopefully what'll end up happening is that devices such as iPhones and Androids and whatnot will get the ability to have WebRTC built in. In some cases it is, but natively in most browsers it isn't. So what I wanted to demonstrate to you guys today is essentially what the status is for the majority of the browsers out there. So first and foremost, Google Chrome is one of the first people to have this, but technically their alpha product when it first was released, it's one of Chrome's or one of Google's little baby toys. They wanted to introduce something that had the capability and the power of that Flash had for video cameras and audio recording and peer-to-peer real-time communication. But they weren't really the first public browser to push the limits. It was actually one of the versions of Opera that was paired up, and there was a custom build for Opera, which you'll remember from last week is now moving to WebKit, that had a similar to a nightly build, a custom build that you could go download and use it to test and play with WebRTC, getting the media devices and whatnot, which actually brings me back to a certain point I should have mentioned before. So WebRTC itself isn't really in like the branding of HTML. As you guys know, it's the little tiny stickers, the logo, the brand identity. Obviously, what this is basically. This one, yeah. What that's based off of, right? The little tiny 5. However, the WebRTC does rely upon 2 technologies that is within that brand. First and foremost would actually be, I guess I didn't switch on. Yay. I need to go live on that one. So one of the first things that it does is it actually takes advantage of the devices, right? So webcams, audio, any type of devices that you have attached to it. What'll end up happening is that JavaScript will be able to grab the devices and do something with it. Now, in the case of how the majority of WebRTC is being used, and this example that we're going to be demonstrating on Thursday this week is actually using another one as well, which is multimedia, right? So what we're going to be doing is taking a look at using the video tag as the base thing to grab. Now, and the video tag uses the device of the webcam to capture that. Now, how that happens and the process in which to do, I'm going to go through briefly here, but Alex is probably going to be going through a lot of the stuff, and I don't want to be taking away from what Alex is going to be demonstrating, because what he's proposed and what we've talked about previously it looks really, really fun, and it looks really, really cool, and I look forward to hopefully giving that kind of like a surprise or whatnot. But what I will do is I will demonstrate to you how you can start working with this and how you can test this prior to the event or prior to doing the Thursday follow along if you're not able to come out, obviously, because of the 30-person cap, which at the end of this, I'll see if I can discuss and open up about. but this way, at least, it won't be completely new to you, that you'll have the ability to understand and to follow along and how to get started. So to get off with and to whatnot. One of the big questions that's always asked is browser support, right? Now, I've gone through, like I said, Opera, the custom build of Opera. Chrome used to be Canary only. Now it's actually built into the native version of Chrome. Don't need to go enable anything. Don't need to do anything at all. So let me actually just switch over to my beautiful little camera over here, or desktop, I should say, and show you essentially what it comes down to. So WebRTC is essentially similar to a location-based thing where it needs to ask your permission prior to any code happening. So a notification comes up. Now, I don't know if you can see this if you're not zoomed in, but unfortunately, I can't zoom the browser yet. Working on that. Or at least I can't zoom the screen to the browser. But it asks your permission. Now, this permission asking is essential. This is not something that is in the code. This is something that the browser does for security purposes. It's similar to what Flash did for, hey, do you want to give permission to local storage or the webcam or the audio? Very similar to that. It's a security purpose. I wholeheartedly think this is a great thing. But I'm going to click Allow, and then you're going to see me pop up on screen here in a different angle. As you can see, yeah, blah, blah, blah. I'm still bouncing on my little ball here. And then view out the window. Hopefully, yeah, the camera's too poor to really get anything out of that. And you'll notice that probably my audio doesn't sync up just quite perfectly. I can see this on my own screen here, that it's slightly off, as well as the audio that syncs up between the device here. If you'll notice that if I go like this, right? So please note that there is a bit of a delay with the streaming of the video to the device here. So it's not all bad. We're only talking a couple milliseconds. But let's go back to it. So back to this. If we take a look at some of the code, and I might just go refresh this so you don't see my ugly face all the time. If we go back to the code, this is all there is, right? Now, granted, there's a closing body and a closing HTML tag here, but that's all there is to get on there. And the majority of this is actually simply just callbacks, right? So let me go quickly through this so that you can see. And what I'll do is I'll actually post this both on the website, and I will make sure that this is embedded or at least linked in the bottom of the comments section on YouTube, or as some of my favorite web stream broadcasters essentially say, the little doobly-doo. So what comes down to is a script loads, window add event listener, DOM on load. So it renders when the document loads. It captures the only video tag that's there. So there's a single video tag that's in this. And then what it tries to do is it tries to capture the get user media. Now, in some cases, this might not be available to every browser. So you have, like vendor prefixes for CSS, you have W3C, which is, the W3C standard, which is the get user media, no prefixes, no nothing. Any WebKit-based browsers will have WebKit, get user media, Mozilla or Firefox-based, Moz, get user media, and then Microsoft. Now, this comes from the example that I found. I have yet to actually see a Microsoft browser or the IE browser doing a WebRTC or any type of live video. However, I'm only going to assume that that is coming down the line, as it is something that is in the specification. So that is the majority of the code, right? You're saying get user media, capture the URL of that user media, right? And then present that to the video tag. Right? So get user media using video, right? And that's it. So you're taking up any of the resulting aspects of this and bringing it up to a success callback, which is a stream provider. So navigator, get user media, if it exists, right? Replace it with whatever the browser is for it, if it's not null. Then you're saying navigator, get user media, if it's true or if it exists, essentially, if it does pass through all of the variables here, get user media, okay. Any of those are successful, it goes and it captures it and it runs the success callback for this. So in the success callback, what you're doing is you're actually saying, set the video source of the video tag to the get user media stream, right? So this is where it comes down to, yay, I'm going to say allow to this. And then you can see my shining happy side of the face here. But that's great. That's Chrome, right? And we all know that not everybody uses Chrome. In some cases, there's Firefox. But let me just refresh on Firefox. Nothing happens. So what's going on here? Well, the base installation of Firefox at the moment does not have WebRTC built in. However, very recently, there was a giant, and I'm going to use the term directly from the blog, a giant milestone made in web. Apparently there's a breeze coming through my window here. A giant milestone made in web design. What ended up happening is the Mozilla Foundation, the developers of Mozilla, ended up having a conversation with Google, or the developers of Chrome. The interesting thing was they did it over WebRTC. So at the moment, it's not activated by default. However, the next version of Firefox, or an upcoming version of Firefox for Windows 8 and Windows 7, etc., will have it on by default. In fact, you can enable it right now in the browser that you have on your desktop in Firefox. Simply open up a brand new tab, go to the about.config, right? C-O-N-F-I-G. Now, of course, you're going to be presented with the, hey, you don't want to break anything here, which is fine. I trust you. I'm going to say, I'll be careful. Now, in here, there's going to be a giant list of different things that you can choose. What you want to choose is media.peer connection. I'm going to zoom in on this so that you can take note of this. So the preference name is media.peerconnection.enabled. Now, by default, this value is false. All you need to do is double click. Now that it's enabled, I can go back to that tab and say, run again. Now, you'll notice if you've done any development with Firefox, what ends up happening is it presents you with this notification. Hey, I want to do something, or they want to do something. Exactly the same as Chrome. And what I can do here, again, share camera. Right? So now I get to see the camera again. All right. Built-in, native. This is not some fancy piece of Firefox. I can say Firefox. It's version 18.0.2. In fact, it's actually downloading a new update right now, which is probably going to kill the bandwidth. And thanks a lot, Mozilla. Restart to update. So it wasn't even using the latest version. It's using an older version, and it's still able to do this. So try it out yourself, and see what you can do with it. Try both Chrome and Firefox, or the custom build of Opera. I'm going to switch back, or turn off that at least. And again, for this code, I'm going to be posting this online as something. Which service where I'm going to post this on, I don't know yet, so I'm not going to say one or the other, but it'll be something available for you. And I'll also see about putting this as a live example. So if you're not able to code on this, you can throw this up in a browser and try it out yourself on all the various ones. Anyway, aside from that, I do want to touch on a couple other things. So obviously, event coming up on Thursday. Said it a bunch. The event itself, we've got Mars Commons. So for anybody who hasn't been there before, it's on the second floor of Mars. So at the college and university. Just get out of college. Second floor to something or other. It's in the Jolt area. We've got a boardroom in there, which is one of the reasons that it's down to 30-person limit. I know a bunch of people wanted to go into it. We have, at the moment, just under 70 or about 70 people on the waiting list. And the reason why we're not having this in a bigger venue is because this is going to be a very one-on-one. Like what this presentation here was, where I'm showing you code, that's going to be even more. Where it's going to be a walkthrough, where you're going to be able to sit down, ask Alex a bunch of questions, and work with the code one-on-one. If we have any more than 30 people for this event doing this, it more than likely won't become as easy for everybody to interact or ask questions. No, I will have the stream going up. Obviously, if you're on the live, I've noticed a couple of people jumping on and off. By all means, jump in, enter the chat. I'll be paying attention to Twitter. I'll have TweetDeck up. I'll have this running. I'll be going back and forth between the two. And I will try my best to make sure that if you do have any questions, that during the Q&A session, that your question will be answered. Or hopefully it'll be answered through another question, or I'll make all the questions together so that everybody's good for that. If this does go well, then we'll absolutely take a look at broadening this up, having more of these advanced classes and advanced courses over time, because it's something that there apparently is a giant interest in. We've got a great speaker lined up. So that being said, that's this coming Thursday. I look forward to hopefully seeing you either at Mars for this or on the stream. With that being said, I wanted to give a big shout out and thanks to our sponsors, Microsoft and Oanda. They've been doing a great job. Again, I can't emphasize enough. If you guys do have the time, all I ask, grab one of the Twitter accounts, which you can get on the htmltoronto.ca site, and just say thanks. Say thank you for supporting html5_Toronto on Twitter. And that means a lot to them, and it really gives recognition to say, look, you guys are supporting us. We want you to continue supporting us, and you're supporting a developer community. So it's a big thing. A couple things that are going on in Toronto. We have jQuery Toronto coming up next weekend. So that's looking promising. In fact, Alex, the speaker for us on Thursday, is one of the presenters there. So if you get a ticket to that, if you're going out to that, that'll be phenomenal. I'm expecting such high things from this. We've got speakers coming in from all over the place, including really, really big name speakers. I always forget his name about. We have Adi Osmani from London, from Google, as well as who else is there? Tons of people. Anyway, go on the website. I believe it's jQueryto.com. Check that out. It's really big. Confu is coming up as well. So that is, I think, this week, leading up to this week, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday-ish, because it's leading into jQuery Toronto. So that's one of the reasons that, unfortunately, I'm unavailable to go to that. I wanted to. Love the guys out there, the guys that are running it. If you actually do watch this, good luck. Seriously, knock them dead. We've got high expectations for that. Also, FITC has a couple of events coming up. Don't have the information in front of me, and Sean is probably going to shoot me, but let me see if I can quickly pull something up for that to give you guys a heads up, because one of them is actually going to be one of the spotlight events, which I love. They're great. They're small little snippets. You can't spend 3 days at a conference all the time, but going in for one day, meeting a bunch of the people, asking questions to the experts is so valuable, especially with this next one. It is actually web performance and optimization. And that the early bird of that, apparently the early bird ends March 1st. So if you are going to buy tickets for that, go take a look. Buy tickets online at fitc.ca. I love those guys. They're all great. Looking at the speaker list that they have so far, it actually looks really promising. These guys really know their stuff. So yeah, go check them out. And last but not least, only because I think it's really good, I know, kind of droning on, if you're driving and if you're having a fun time or partying or whatever, I'm going to recommend, personal recommendation more than anything else, go for Halo. At the next event, I'm going to have some of these hopeful cards. And we're going to have a discount code for the group for that. So that's it. Anyway, thanks guys a lot. The big question out for you this week, and the call to action: what are you going to do with WebRTC? What are you going to do with using this webcam and audio and peer-to-peer connections? Let's see, by next Sunday, send me a link or send me some code. See what you've done. Interact with it with JavaScript. Have it so that it throws it on Canvas. Do whatever you want to do with it. Go look up tutorials and go check it out. I'd love to see what you guys can do over the week. And then if you give me permission afterwards as well, and you send me the link by next Sunday, I can see about actually throwing some of these things up here and giving demonstrations, hopefully live, and showing what you guys did. Anyway, have a great week, and I look forward to seeing the majority of you or a bunch of you on Thursday.